Welcome back to the channel. My name is Teft, and it has been a while since I posted a video. It's been about over 9 months or so. Last time I posted a video was about the 3900X rig that I built back in January. This video is going to be a follow-up and a discussion about my thoughts and experience with the 3900X, with streaming, video production, podcasting. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So with 9 months going by, a lot has happened, and obviously the world has gotten ultra crazy. We're not going to go into that, but with the 3900X rig, I've streamed probably 1,000 hours or so this year. I've done a weekly podcast, 2 weekly podcasts actually, almost every single week. I've edited close to 40 4K multicam videos. Looking at this setup right now, I actually have 4 cameras. I got my face cam, I've got this upper side cam, side view cam type of thing. I got a broader side cam view, and I have this over view cam. They're A6400s except for a Lumix GX85. So if you're curious about that setup, I am recording everything in 4K, and I've been doing that. And that was actually one of the catalysts for me to get a 3900X rig, or actually to build one of these rigs, because my previous rig was a 6800K, an Intel i7 6800K, and it was definitely showing its age. I had that rig for about 3 years, and nothing was wrong with it. It was working fantastic, but it was not being able to crunch the numbers. Like 1080p video, when I have to do some exports for the podcast and deal with some of the compression files that were very tightly packed, would just take way longer than I'd want. I have to like leave it on overnight. And if I did any 4K rendering, I mean, good God, the 4K rendering on the 6800K was just, would take forever. So the main reason was I needed a better production rig, and I actually built this thing specifically as a production rig. It's not a vanity gamer box or anything like that. You can see I cut corners on quite a bit of stuff, and I was curious how the performance would actually be if I was going to be happy with it as time went by. So the short answer to that is it's been phenomenal. The 3900X is a beast of a chip, and anything production related has been a breeze to throw at it. On average, 4K video renders for me are typically like a 1-to-1 ratio, which I think is pretty good, personally. Unless I do like the 2-pass, high quality, like if I'm trying to encode for something better than YouTube, then it will take longer. But generally for YouTube renders, it's no big deal. I mean, if I do a 10 to 20 minute video, I'm looking at basically 10 to 20 minutes of render time. Maybe a little bit more here and there, depending on the stuff, but like really not bad at all. Between streams, podcasting, and 4K video editing, it's been absolutely fantastic. One concern I had was whether or not this cooler was going to be okay, if I was going to experience any kind of throttling or anything like that. I have not experienced any throttling. I will say it does run on the warmer side, and enthusiasts are definitely going to be concerned that you can't get super cool temperatures just idling and all that. So obviously, if you're trying to build an enthusiast rig, then clearly you're going to get the best cooler possible for this. I was on a budget, and I specifically wanted to make a rig that was going to meet my needs without feeling like I had to go broke for a month or two on that specific thing. So using the AMD cooler was one of those shortcuts. It saved me $100 or so, which I know $100 in the long run is not a lot, but when you add everything up and you budget your stuff for a business, because I do treat this like a business, then every $100 adds up. So it was one of those things where I was like, I wonder if I can cut corners with that and be okay with it. And so far, for 9 months, it has been perfectly fine. Like I said, I haven't noticed any throttling. It does keep the temperatures within spec. And that's the thing to keep in mind with this stuff. AMD has a spec sheet of where the temperatures can be. And if you look at that versus enthusiast stuff is gonna say, you need to keep that bone chilly. Don't ever let it go above a certain number or anything like that. So yeah, obviously enthusiast stuff, clearly this cooler is not it. But if you're trying to get by on a budget, I think the cooler works out fantastic. Like I've been pleasantly surprised. I will be bringing up the 5900X as well, because I know that just came out and the specs are coming out and it's looking fantastic. And I will get to the discussion of whether or not I'm gonna upgrade it to a 5900X. So pause on that for now. One thing that I didn't do in the build video was add an exhaust fan. And that was something that I had planned on doing. Obviously, there was a lot of comments of people saying, hey, why would you not add an exhaust fan and stuff like that? I just had not gotten the fan yet. I was originally planning on getting another LED Corsair fan, and I didn't. So what happened was I ended up having a silent, ugly looking fan that was still in my closet, that a couple weeks later I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna use this fan for the time being. And ultimately I never changed it. So it's got this ugly yellow fan that is sitting in the back, which because it's a production computer for me, I don't mind. You know, I know there's a lot of beautification that can happen with PC rigs, and people get really into it, and I think that's fantastic. I usually treat these systems as production computers, and once they're set up as a production system, I don't want to change anything unless it's critical, like more storage or something like that, or more RAM. Once this is good and it's running and I'm not having any problems, then I kind of treat it like it's sealed. It's working. Don't mess with it, you know? Because I'm on a weekly podcast, specifically 2 of them, the last thing I want to do is show up, say, an hour or a half hour to the show, and then be like, oh, I had swapped some stuff in my system and now it's not working correctly. My bad, guys. Like, that's extremely unreliable. So because it's a production reliable type of machine, I have to make sure that that stuff is going to not suddenly decide to take a dump in the middle of a 2-hour stream or 2-hour podcast or something like that. So it's very important for me that stability-wise, it's there. And like I said, 99%, or 99.999% has been phenomenal. There is a slight little hiccup that's been happening, and it's happened 5 times in the past 5 months. It happens at times when I'm using something graphics intensive, like Photoshop, or if I'm watching a 4K video. And like I said, it's very seldom. I've had it happen in Adobe Premiere like 2 times, 3 times, and I've had it happen while looking at an actual 4K video like 2 times in the past 9 months, and it basically slows the computer to a halt in terms of responsiveness, and I have to do a hard reboot. Oh, and it did happen once on stream, actually, my bad. So there was actually one time that it happened on stream, but again, we're looking at 1,000 hours-ish, roughly 1,000 hours, and it happening one time. It's pretty stable. Like I said, it's like a 5.9 stability. There is the possibility of a strange hiccup, and it could be driver related, because I actually haven't updated the latest NVIDIA drivers recently, so that might have been something related to the 1660 Super that I've got here, but I'm not like having to hard reset this thing every week or something like that, or if it's been running for 10 hours and suddenly it just crashes or something like that. Nothing like that. I haven't had any blue screens. It's, like I said, it's been phenomenal. I've really been happy with it. And I don't know if it's just because I got lucky. I know there's been reports about some of the motherboards for the AMD stuff having issues across the board. I don't know if that was back then or they fixed that recently in the supply or whatnot. I'm not a PC builder, so I don't get into these things and I don't deep dive into them. I usually, when I'm building a rig, I do my research, and once I've built my rig again, it's like, it's locked. It's what it is, and I'm back to doing my main production stuff. Very, very happy with this build. Again, if I was gonna change anything about it, I would say the cooler, for sure. You know, that's kind of an obvious one, spend an extra $100 on the cooler. And in hindsight, an RTX 2060 probably would have been a better choice. I mean, for sure it would have been a better choice, but it's also definitely $100, $200 maybe dollars more expensive than the 1660 Super. And again, I was on a strict budget with this build. I didn't want to go over a certain dollar amount, and I basically hit that mark, which I was very happy about. Now, the question is, would I upgrade to a 5900X? Being an AMD board and being a X570 board, chipset, whatever, I have the option to upgrade to a 5900X. And if you looked at the specs recently, it's looking incredible. It's really juicy, amazing, especially for gaming as well. I do not plan on upgrading to a 5900X. And the reason is, already with my 4K editing, I'm having no problems. Like I said, I'm using between 3 to 5, sometimes 6 streams of 4K video, and I'm having no problem editing all those. If there was any real hiccups I was experiencing with that editing process, then I would consider getting a 5900X. But over 9 months, I mean, it's been bulletproof, basically. Like, the render times could be decreased, you know, possibly get it under 1:1, but do I need it to be under 1:1? Like, if my average video is 10 to 30 minutes, I'm just spending 10 to 30 minutes on the export for a 4K video. So that's like going out, making lunch, getting coffee. You know, I mean, it's nothing really. Like, I've got no issues whatsoever. So in terms of a 5900X for this particular build, I don't think I'm going to be, actually I know for sure, I'm not going to be upgrading to a 5900X. It is great the way it is. I don't want to mess with it. Now, my current gaming rig is a different story. And if I didn't make it clear, I'll make it double clear right now. This is strictly for streaming, podcasting, 4K video editing, not gaming. I've always run a 2 PC setup, and the reason I've done that is I like to treat my gaming rig as a console. So, you know, you got the PS4 or the Xbox and all that, and then you got a PC. And what makes that nice to treat it that way is that all of the audio and the video stuff can basically be treated the same across the board. So you're not messing with too many settings and all that when swapping back and forth between console and PC gaming. I am fully aware that a 5900X is more than capable of being able to do single PC streaming and gaming, even the 3900X. I totally get that, 100%, and especially with the RTX cards, it's becoming even more abundant that you could do that. But again, the reason why I don't want to do a single PC for streaming and gaming is because I like to keep those things separated, treat it as an isolated system that I can fix in the middle of stream without having to reboot my streaming computer. Because sometimes I've actually had issues where I've had to install a new driver midstream, and if I were to do that on a streaming PC, you would have to kill the stream and restart everything. And that's a pain in the ass. You know, like if you only did a stream maybe once every week or 2 weeks or something like that, then I get it, no problem. But if you stream consistently or stream often, then I think it's a lot more efficient for the stream to be able to separate those things, and that way you can figure out what possibly could be going on if you do have a problem in the middle of a stream. But I totally get it. The 5900X is going to be a gaming beast, and that's why I'm thinking about my next gaming rig being built on a 5900X. Maybe even the 6800 XT. Maybe. I mean, I still have my eyes on a 3080. I wasn't able to secure a pre-order or get an early one or anything like that. So I'm still rocking a 1080 Ti with a 7700K Intel rig, and that thing is definitely reaching the end of its life. I mean, it's not a bad PC by any means, but I plan on actually moving that rig into here for our music production rig. In case you didn't know, this is our music production office. I have a streaming office down the hallway. So yeah, that 7700K rig is gonna become the new music production rig, which is more than enough for something like that. But the new gaming PC that I plan on building is most likely gonna be a 5900X when probably a 3080, because those 3080s, driver support with NVIDIA is usually better. You know, that could change. That could definitely be something that becomes a thing of the past in 2021, potentially. AMD has been knocking it out of the ballpark, you know? Like, they've just been crushing it left and right, and the more releases that they do, the less interested I am in Intel products, which is kind of crazy to think about. I mean, Intel has really kind of been dragging their feet with architecture and innovation in general, and seeing AMD come out and just be like, bam, check this out, like that's impressive. It's very exciting. So yeah, for this rig, no 5900X upgrade for me. I don't need anything better for the 4K editing. What I might do in the future is swap in a 2060 if I could find one that's relatively cheap-ish. Like I said, I've done about 40-ish 4K multicam videos this year on this rig, and it's been... in terms of streaming, I originally tried doing CPU encoding, and I ended up settling on the RTX encoder because the 1660 Super, if you don't know, does have the RTX encoder, the good one. That encoder is just so good that I've had no issues with just strictly using that encoder, and it's also frees up the CPU for being able to focus on any kind of other stability type of thing. So this year, I've actually just basically been using the RTX encoder, and I've had no issues with it at all. I haven't had anybody go, hey man, your stream doesn't look as good or anything like that. In fact, a lot of people have said the streams look fantastic. So after 9 months, would I recommend this rig to anyone? 100%, yes. Especially if you're doing 4K editing or video production or anything like that. And if you're gonna be doing gaming, definitely recommend getting a better GPU. Something, like if you can get a 3070, man, fantastic rig. I don't know what the prices are gonna be for 3900Xs, if there's gonna be any kind of significant price drop, if you can grab them cheaper, anything like that. Obviously the 5900X is gonna be better. And what's great about the AMD boards is that you can just swap in new chips. AMD has been phenomenal about supporting their chipset to be able to include newer CPUs that come out. So the option's there for me, which is great. I mean, I also could look at something like a 3950X or a 5950X, I guess that's the name of it, for even more cores and all that, if I do end up ultimately hitting a spot where I need more raw CPU power, so that could be a possibility. But yeah, it's been a great rig, really enjoyed it. And also in the previous video, if you had clicked on the links and bought anything through Amazon, that does give me a kickback for the channel. And so thank you very much, really appreciate that if you did use those links. And if you're looking to build something in the future, obviously the links below to this stuff. And again, if you use the Amazon links, it does provide a kickback to me. So just wanna throw that out there. Also, so you're aware, you know, if you do use those, it does support me. But yeah, very happy with it. And like I said, I do plan on most likely building an AMD gaming rig in the future. I think that wraps up this video, guys. I don't want to ramble too much. I've already rambled enough. So if you enjoyed it, make sure to hit the like button, leave me a comment, subscribe to the channel. You know, I may have more content coming. I'm actually planning on doing more tech style stuff for this YouTube channel. Maybe even some camera reviews, you know. I got the PS5 on order, maybe do an unboxing. We'll see, but I do enjoy making this style of content. So if you want to check out the streams, twitch.tv/TeftyTeft, that is where I stream. I am going to be playing a lot of Beyond Light that's coming out. Also Godfall, Demon Souls, all the stuff on the PS5. I can't wait for Cyberpunk. It's going to be great. Very exciting time to be a gamer right now. And if you want to check out any of the music production stuff that we've been making, make sure to check out Tefty and Memes YouTube channel. That's where I've been posting the bulk of these 4K videos. And that's it. I'll see you next time. Deuces.